Today, I wanted to talk about the impact of racism on relationships between Black people. Now, there's a lot that could be said about that. And I'm not going to try to say it all right here. These are just some of my observations, some of my ideas. So feel free to disagree with it. Um, but I just wanted to talk about some things that I see as I work with people and walk through life. Um, One of the things about racism is I think racism generates shame in African American people. Many of us, not all of us, and I'm not speaking for all African Americans, but a subset. I think it generates some shame. Some of us can feel ashamed of the experience, um, ashamed of how we're viewed by society, ashamed of some of the things that we see happening to us as a result of our color. And basically, we feel bad. And that shame can also make us reject ourselves or reject those sorts of those aspects of ourselves that are related to color and race. And if you don't like yourself, if you're um, ashamed of yourself, it can be difficult to manage interpersonal relationships, intimate relationships, because one of the ways that we deal with shame is we turn away, we avert our gaze, we keep secrets, we may act out compulsively, we may compensate by overspending, eating, sexing, all that kind of stuff, and we may even seek relationships in order to avoid the shame or to lessen the shame that we feel, only to have that relationship deliver us right back to that shame. Um, I think that that racism also contributes to some of the conflict that we have. If you look on the internet now, and there's a lot of conflict between men and women, African American men and women, about who's responsible for our relationships going bad, and a lot of the people that you see creating content on the internet seem to want to blame the woman. It's the woman's fault. She's not being submissive. She's getting too much education. She's too old to be attractive or to be wanted. If she's too educated, nobody's going to want her. Women, on the other hand, men aren't taking care of their children. They're walking out on their families. The internet is set up so that it features conflict. That's part of it. The cruelty, the conflict. It promotes that sort of thing because that leads to more engagement. And so if you look on the internet for relationship advice, it won't take long before if you're a man, that you're in the manosphere and men are going their own way without women and putting African American women down and all that kind of stuff. But see, one thing about the racism is that racism has us devalue things that are really valuable. See, I think that when the first slavers went to Africa, they had to have a certain mindset to do what they were trying to do. They couldn't see us as human. They couldn't they couldn't let on that they were coming there because we were valuable. And so we kind of picked that up through our dealings with them. We kind of devalue ourselves, and then our land was taken, our women were taken. And remember, the African American woman is the only one that can make a slave. She's the only one that can make a soldier, which leads to a standing army. So she's been valuable. She has always been valuable. She's valuable right now. But now the effect of the racism on Black men can be that we devalue our own women. And so that can have a detrimental effect on our relationships with them. It's going to be hard to be in a meaningful relationship with someone that you don't respect, someone that you don't view as an equal, someone that you don't view as valuable. Now, as we get into these conflicts, it can lead to violence between us, domestic violence, men trying to dominate women or put women down, women lashing out. It goes both ways. But most domestic violence is perpetrated by men on women. And women may may strike back. They may hit a man, but most men put women in the hospital. Some women use weapons, obviously, but for the most part, around the world, it's mostly men involved in violence. And so the way we feel about ourselves, the way we feel about our women can affect the way in which we interact with them. And sometimes it leads to violence, domestic violence. It leads to family breakup. And once we start breaking the family up and getting the people involved and all that, the courts and all that, walking out on children because we can't manage the conflict between us based on how we're feeling, making bad decisions as a result of feeling bad and getting in a relationship that we're having trouble navigating. It leads to our economic problems for us. Trying to run two households, trying to manage the children and all that when you have an adversarial relationship with the mom or you have an adversarial relationship with the dad. That affects our bottom line. That affects our ability to pass wealth down to our children. And so racism has always existed. Discrimination has always existed. One Thomas Sowell says that discrimination is pervasive, but not pervasively effective. So people have always tried to discriminate against us, and we've risen up and made great strides. But in a racist environment, we can make poor decisions. And so we talked a little bit about shame, how shame affects our relationships. We talked about rejection. I reject myself, making it easier for me to reject you. If I don't feel good about myself in a relationship, it can lead to conflicts in a relationship. Once the man leaves the household, father leaves the household, your children are worse off, education-wise. A lot of times it leads to truancy, and they're not as well off economically, which can lead to crime, truancy on the street, gang activity, if your household isn't safe. All that kind of stuff has an impact on us in our society. And so, now I don't mean to say this across the board for all black people. Some black people, some relationships. And so, I just wanted to try to point that out because, it hurts me to see black people at odds with other black people, black men and women, blaming each other for the problems that we have in our relationships. Yes, some of us have problems. We didn't get here by ourselves. Racism is not totally responsible for it. Racism has existed. The decisions we make under those conditions, under racist conditions, can lead to poor outcomes for us and our families. So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. Let me know in the comments what you think about this, if you want to add anything else to it, if you think I missed anything, if you hated this video, let me know what you think. I'm all about trying to help anybody improve their relationships, but particularly African Americans. Unity is our strength. Thank you for checking this out. Till next time.